What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved stars finds herself backed into a legal corner and suddenly turns on everyone around her? Today's video dives into the shocking developments from Blake Lively's latest courtroom appearance. And trust me, it's not what anyone expected. For weeks, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have been locked in a tense legal dispute that has slowly pulled back the curtain on a battle many assumed was just a quiet disagreement behind closed doors. But now, the story has exploded into public view, and what's coming out is raising serious questions not just about Blake's legal strategy, but about her credibility. In a bombshell court session, Blake Lively did something that instantly shifted the momentum. She finally admitted, in not-so-subtle terms, that things aren't going her way. But instead of seeking resolution, she unleashed a desperate legal attack targeting Baldoni himself, painting him as someone with ulterior motives. The accusations were heavy, the tone was emotional, and the intent was crystal clear: shift the blame, rewrite the story, and salvage control. But the twist didn't stop there. In a move that stunned observers, Blake also pointed fingers toward the people documenting the case: online commentators, legal analysts, and creators who have simply been sharing publicly available information. Yes, she went that far. And here's the kicker: she made statements in court that directly contradict her past interviews, digital records, and yes, even my own content. Her claims that she never said the things circulating online. But the evidence, it says otherwise. Why would a star of her stature take such a risk? Why attempt to erase what's already been documented and dissected by thousands? These aren't just courtroom tactics, they're signs of a narrative spiraling out of control. And that's exactly why this story matters. Because when celebrities use their platform to silence honest reporting, it speaks to the power of truth and the importance of standing by it, no matter how famous the players are. In today's video, we're breaking down exactly what Blake said, how Baldoni's team responded, what it means for the case, and why creators like myself were suddenly dragged into the mix despite doing nothing but telling the truth. This isn't just gossip. This isn't clickbait. This is a real moment of reckoning where the lines between celebrity influence, legal integrity, and public accountability are being tested like never before. So grab your popcorn or your legal pad, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you look at Blake Lively forever. The courtroom was tense. The cameras weren't rolling, but the world was watching. After weeks of back and forths, delays, and media spin, something unexpected happened. Blake Lively, the star who had stood her ground through thick and thin, suddenly shifted her tone. In a stunning moment that left even legal analysts speechless, Blake finally admitted what many had suspected for a while: she couldn't win this battle without pulling out all the stops. And that's exactly what she did. Instead of accepting the legal flow or moving toward resolution, Blake launched a desperate counterattack targeting none other than Justin Baldoni, the very man who had once been her collaborator and friend. The once private feud had now become a very public power struggle, and Blake's team wasn't holding back anymore. They filed a heated new motion, packed with sharp words and thinly veiled accusations aimed directly at Baldoni's integrity and intentions. It felt like the last play in a long game of legal chess, where the queen was finally cornered and striking back in every direction. But it didn't stop there. In the same document, Blake made a claim that caught everyone off guard. She alleged that content creators, people like you and me, were twisting her words, fabricating narratives. She named no names directly, but those close to the situation knew exactly who she was talking about. It was a stunning twist. Suddenly, it wasn't just about Baldoni anymore, it was about us. The independent voices who had followed the case, reported developments, and questioned the silence. Blake's frustration had spilled out into the open, and the courtroom walls could barely contain the heat. As the hearing progressed, it became clear that this wasn't the composed, elegant Blake we've all seen on red carpets and movie screens. This was a woman under immense pressure, grappling with a narrative she could no longer control. Her legal team framed Baldoni as someone seeking attention, leveraging the lawsuit to elevate his public profile. But the evidence didn't support that narrative. Emails, deposition clips, and behind-the-scenes exchanges painted a very different picture. Baldoni had remained mostly quiet throughout the storm. His statements were measured, his court filings focused on facts, not feelings. In contrast, Blake's new filings read more like a script from a high-stakes drama layered with emotion, accusations, and frustration. This wasn't just legal defense, it was personal now. And when things get personal in court, the the truth tends to come out in ways nobody expects. The desperation was palpable. In one section of the document, Blake's lawyers mentioned unnamed online personalities and influencers who had, in their words, weaponized misinformation. It was a direct nod to the public's role in this evolving story. But here's the catch: many of us had simply been reading court documents, quoting actual filings, and offering our perspectives based on what was already public. So where exactly was the misinformation? Rather than addressing specific claims with clarity, Blake's camp painted everything with a broad brush. It was easier that way. If the facts aren't in your favor, shift the conversation. Distract. Deflect. But those who have followed this case closely weren't buying it. The more they tried to silence the noise, the louder the truth became. And then came the most unsettling part of the hearing. When asked about certain media clips and commentary that had been circulating widely online, Blake gave an answer that left people in shock. She claimed she had never said what was being quoted, never implied the things people were accusing her of, never targeted anyone unfairly. But here's where things got tricky. Multiple videos existed, showcasing her interviews, court-adjacent remarks, and behind-the-scenes moments. Clips where her own words contradicted what was now being claimed under oath. It wasn't just a case of he said, she said. The evidence was digital, time-stamped, and accessible. For someone in her position to deny something that had already been seen by thousands felt risky. This wasn't about drama anymore, it was about credibility. In a court of law, your word is everything. And when a claim doesn't align with hard proof, questions start to surface. Had Blake genuinely forgotten? Was this a miscommunication, or was this a calculated move to shift attention away from what was really unfolding? As a commentator who has followed this case closely, I found myself unexpectedly wrapped into the narrative. I wasn't mentioned by name, but the implications were there. Her lawyers cited narrative manipulation and digital harassment, alluding to content creators who had supposedly pushed falsehoods. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Every video I've made was based on actual filings. Every opinion I've shared was grounded in public record. The idea that Blake might have intentionally misrepresented this felt personal, not just to me, but to many others who have engaged respectfully with this story. It was a moment of disbelief. Did she truly believe this line of defense would hold up, or had the walls finally closed in too tightly? Once news of the hearing spread, social media lit up. Fans, legal experts, and pop culture commentators all weighed in. Many were shocked by Blake's sudden change of tone. Some sympathized, acknowledging that public scrutiny can be overwhelming, but others questioned the strategy. Was attacking Baldoni, denying public comments, and blaming the media really the best move? The backlash was swift. Hashtags began trending. Clips from old interviews were reposted with side-by-side comparisons to her court testimony. Credible voices from both legal and entertainment fields highlighted the inconsistencies. It was clear people were paying attention, and they weren't forgetting. Meanwhile, Baldoni's team remained composed. They released a short but strong statement reaffirming their faith in the legal process. They didn't engage with the drama or the media narrative. That silence spoke volumes, and it was gaining respect. Behind the scenes, insiders hinted that Blake's legal team was considering a change in approach. Maybe a settlement. Maybe a full retraction. Nothing was confirmed, but whispers of strategy shifts suggested that the cost, reputational, emotional, and financial, was becoming too high. This case has always been more than a legal dispute. It's become a reflection of how truth operates in the digital age, of how power interacts with accountability, and most importantly, of how the public has found a voice and refuses to be dismissed. As this legal battle intensifies, one thing is becoming increasingly clear: this is no longer just about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. It's about trust, transparency, and how powerful voices respond when the public refuses to look away. Blake's recent admission in court, followed by a sharp pivot to blame Baldoni and allegedly misrepresent what others, including independent commentators, have said, has raised more eyebrows than it has resolved concerns. And a shift in tone, a growing desperation, and most concerning of all, a willingness to redirect the narrative toward people who are simply documenting what's happening. In a world where receipts exist, where every word is time-stamped and archived, denying the truth is a dangerous game. Justin Baldoni has chosen to remain measured, focusing on legal responses and keeping the drama at bay. That contrast between composure and chaos has not gone unnoticed. More and more, the public is starting to see who is staying grounded and who is trying to spin. But this isn't about choosing sides, it's about standing up for truth. Whether you're a celebrity, a filmmaker, or a content creator, everyone should be held to the same standard. And no amount of fame should ever shield someone from accountability. We will continue to cover this case respectfully, factually, and without fear. Because no matter how loud the distractions get, facts always win in the end. If Blake Lively has nothing to hide, then the truth will speak for her. If not, well, the public is already watching.